Hi everyone, James here and welcome back to the Gamefree YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to be going through everything you need to know in order to stop playing video games and take back control of your life once and for all. And before we get into the video, I just want to remind you that there are some spaces available in the Gamefree coaching program, so if you watch this and decide that you want to make a change, book a free discovery call and the link in the description and see how I can help you become game-free once and for all. And that being said, let's get into the video. Now, in all the time that I've spent helping people with video game addiction, I've seen a lot of people make a lot of different mistakes when it comes to quitting. Whether you start with detoxing or trying to moderate your gaming or using willpower, time and time again I've seen people fail because they are not following a simple 3-step process to stopping video games. And I'm going to reveal all my secrets to quitting in this video, so make sure you watch it through to the end, because it is actually very easy for you to stop, no matter what you might think. And we're going to go through 3 steps in this video, and that is, we're going to be breaking video games down into their fundamentals, examining our core beliefs about video games, and then finally planning and executing on building the life that we really want. So, what is involved with breaking down video games into the fundamentals? This is something that I have everyone do, whether they're a client, whether they're a coaching client, whether they've just got in touch with me, whether they're going through my program, all of these things. The first step is breaking things down to the fundamental parts, because throughout your life you've been led to believe things about video games that just aren't true. And one of the main things that you've been led to believe is that quitting video games is difficult. Let me tell you, when I first quit playing video games, it was genuinely one of the hardest things I ever did. This was about 7 years ago now. And it was so hard because I didn't know what I was doing, basically. I started doing a detox. I had all these hobbies listed out that I wanted to do. I made some goals and whatever else. All of the basic stuff that you think you need to do. And yeah, I made it through 3 months, 90 days, and things seemed okay, but it wasn't long before I was falling back into gaming as a result of my cravings, my gaming friends, whatever it might be. And then over the next 7 years, I must have relapsed a dozen times because I was convinced that I could moderate my gaming if I just played on the weekends or something, or maybe I was better at willpower and discipline now because I've learned to live without video games. Well, all of this was false. And it wasn't until I learned to see video games for what they really are and break video games down, smash through the beliefs and the conditioning that I've been led to believe. It wasn't until then that I really became game-free, and quitting gaming, the last time I did it, was the easiest thing that I have ever done. And this is something that you need to internalize going forward. Most people, when they stop playing, they're worried about how they're going to battle cravings. They're worried about what to do if this happens or that happens. And when you think all of these things, well, it's going to come true. It's going to be difficult for you. If you're worried about where the next problem's going to occur, well, you're going to be suffering from that problem. It's as simple as that. If you just live with the belief that quitting gaming is going to be easy for you, well, then I guarantee this is going to be a much smoother process for you going forward. For starters, let's take that example of seeing your gamer friends play video games after you've quit and constantly wishing that you could play with them. You think that it must be so fun to get back with them and relive those old games and have a good time and do whatever it is you do. What you're doing is you're convincing yourself that they're having an amazing time without actually thinking about what it is video games are doing to you. So instead of looking at things from a third-party perspective, using that objective viewpoint and critically thinking about why video games are a negative and what they actually do to you, what they're doing to your friends, all you see are the effects that it's having on other people. And this is your brain tricking you into trying to get back to video games. It thinks, oh, I'm stressed at the moment, if I could just go back and play, everything would be fixed. But what it doesn't think about is the repercussions that come about. If you're truly addicted to video games, what happens when you play? Maybe a few hours go by, you slack off from your responsibilities, you get in trouble, you stay up late, get tired, you don't exercise, you feel shit throughout the day, like all these things just start piling up, and then you play video games to escape from your problems, which only exacerbates the problem. And yet, you've seen that when you quit playing video games, you're a lot more positive. You're better in social situations, you're more alert, more energetic, you're more passionate, more disciplined, you have better friendships, all these kinds of things. But you don't see that when you look at other people play. You think that if you could just go back, it would fix all your problems. But if you go back to fundamentals and break video games down into what they really are, whether they're a positive or a negative impact, suddenly you are able to think about these situations more clearly, more critically. And when they arise, they no longer become a problem for you because you've already internalized that, yeah, if I play, it might seem good to start with, but it is going to have a severe negative effect down the road. And I'm at a similar point. I've now reached the point where if I go back to gaming, I'm going to destroy so much of what I worked for that any benefits that I think I might get from playing just are completely negated by the negatives. It's not even a question. But when you start off, it's so difficult to see this if you don't really internalize this right away. And I want to share with you one of my favorite analogies, which is the two restaurants. Now let's say you have restaurant A and restaurant B. Now restaurant A is really close to you, all your friends go there, it's cheap, everyone thinks they're having a good time, it's super busy all the time. And restaurant B is really far away, you've never actually been there, no one goes there, and everyone tells you to avoid it like the plague. So you're always eating at restaurant A, always with your friends, always doing this, and every time you eat there, you feel sick. You hate the taste of the food. Like there's so many negatives that come about from eating there, and yet you go every single time. But one day you decide to check out restaurant B. It's a more arduous journey, it takes longer to get there, and when you arrive there's only one or two people eating there, and you think, oh God, what have I done? But you eat there, and you taste this food, and it's the most incredible, magnificent, delicious food that you've ever had, and you feel incredible, you feel rejuvenated, energized, all these things, and you can't wait to go and scream like the benefits of eating at restaurant B to all your friends. And you rush back, you head back there, and you tell people, oh man, I've just experienced something incredible. And they just shut you down immediately. They tell you you're being stupid, they tell you to come back to restaurant A. It's just what everyone does, like that there couldn't be anything different for you. But you know the difference now. You know that you are never going back to restaurant A. It's as simple as that. You can't stomach the thought of eating that food again, not after you've tried restaurant B. And I'll just replace restaurant A and B with gaming and not gaming. Once you've experienced the benefits, once you've realized what gaming is doing to you, knowing everything you know about video games, why would you ever want to go and play them again? Every time you go there, it makes you feel sick. It makes you restless and lose passion and unmotivated, undisciplined, all these kinds of things. And every time you go to restaurant B, you feel amazing. Why would you ever want that to change? Because you see, when you stop playing and you don't think about these things objectively, and you don't break them down into the effects that they're having on you, all you see are the effects they're having on other people. And your brain correlates that with having a good time as something that you need to start doing and get back to. And you're never truly going to break free of that cycle until you overcome those beliefs. Which leads me into the second section, and that's examining the beliefs that we have about video games. We're going to be covering three things in this section, and that is personality, identity, and the benefits. Now, how many times have you tried to quit or got deep into addiction and thought, oh, I just have an addictive personality. It's not my fault. I'm just destined to be always addicted to video games no matter what. Well, what if I told you that addictive personalities do not exist? You might look at me like I'm crazy, because I used to think the same thing back when I was starting out in my world of video game addiction. I would quit playing video games and I'd get addicted to something else, or I've got a family history of addiction, whatever it is. I thought that was just who I was. Well, let me ask you something. Do you think addictive personalities come about because we are predisposed to engaging in addictive behavior? Or is it because we engage in addicting behavior so much that we develop this personality to seek out things that are rewarding, that are easy, that are simple and accessible? Well, more than likely it is the second one. Because we've played video games for so long, and because they're such an addictive activity, they're so stimulating for your mind that they're so easy and accessible for people. You just press a few buttons and suddenly you're transported to this world that is just filling your brain with overloads of dopamine all the time, frying your receptors, making it difficult to find pleasure in other activities. This is what's leading to you seeking out more addictive personality traits, like wasting time on YouTube or whatever it is after you stop playing because you don't know any different. It's not because you are predisposed to seek out these addictive behaviors, it's because you've engaged in them for so long that you're now more likely to do it. And this is one of the main myths that I try to break down for people, which is that you are not the problem. People label themselves an addict or the gaming addict for their entire life, and they're always in recovery, instead of realizing that video games are the problem. It's not you. And once you can free yourself from the control that video games are having, which is what I'm trying to do in this video, that's when you really start to see things change for the better. And now the second point I'm going to go into is identity. And if you've played video games for a certain amount of time, chances are you identify as a gamer. And how many people do you know that identify as gamers? And it's something that's surged in popularity over the years, because gaming didn't used to be cool back when I was a kid, or when your parents were a kid. It was, but now it's a normal thing to do. But why is it that so many people can't fathom the idea of just getting rid of video games? What is it about their identity that makes that hard to do? It's not that they're hard to stop playing. We've already established that it's actually quite easy to quit. What's difficult for them is breaking free of that identity that they've built up. Now, if you've gone your whole life playing video games, that's probably all you know. You don't have a lot else outside of the world of video games. You don't have many achievements. All your friends are gamers. All the things that you know, probably the intimate lives of Twitch streamers and YouTubers. You know about all the details of certain video games, but no real knowledge of other things, no enjoyment of other activities. Simply put, you have built your entire life, your entire identity around one thing and one thing only, and that is video games. So when you tell someone to stop, or when you try and get them to stop, they become protective, that they kind of like cocoon themselves to try and stop that from happening. Because if you take away that identity, there is nothing left. It is an empty shell. And it is frightening for a lot of people. And that's what holds people back, is fear, whether they know it or not. It's a defense mechanism from your brain telling you that you can't get rid of this because there is nothing left. We don't have anything else to show. All these thousands of hours that we've put in, and what have we got to show for it? Usually nothing. And breaking down this identity is one of the necessary hurdles you need to overcome if you truly want to break free of video games. And the last part of this section, what I want to talk about are the supposed benefits that we think we get from playing video games. How many times have you heard people say that video games are just relaxing, they're social activity, or they're just fun to play? How many times have you actually played video games and felt relaxed afterwards? If you're playing them till you go to bed at night, is your sleep improved? Is it having an actively positive impact on your sleep and on your routines? Probably not. I have never met anyone who actually feels more relaxed after they play. And yet this is one of the most common reasons I hear people say as to why they play video games. And while some aspects of gaming might be fun, compare that to something in the real world, an activity. What are you actually getting in a video game compared to, I don't know, let's say climbing or kayaking or going for a walk or doing a different hobby? I don't know what it is. Well, In video games, you might have the social interaction, but it's not real. It's just your voice. You don't pick up on the social clues and the interaction necessary to develop those skills. And then when you play the games, you're accomplishing challenges and achievements, but you're not actively getting anything in return. There's nothing tangible that you're gaining from playing video games. Nothing. Nothing at all to show for it. And compare this to something in the real world. Maybe you build something, or you fix something, or you have a rewarding afternoon outside in nature with friends, or meeting new people, being healthy, all these things. Well, they're night and day difference, because you're getting something tangible in return for putting the work in and accomplishing these and overcoming these challenges. So when people say that they're just playing for relaxation or for fun, in reality, they're not getting any of that. Even the social interaction is limited in a video game, no matter what you might think. And it's not the game that's facilitating that environment. You'd be having the same fun, the same conversation in a pub, on a walk, I don't know, doing something that you would if you were playing a video game. And yet, people decide to do it and actively damage their reward systems, make their brain overloaded with dopamine, all these things, which has a negative impact in other areas of their life. Yet they're convinced that their gaming habit is normal and healthy. Everyone knows that gaming isn't healthy. I don't think anyone would say that it's actively benefiting you, except for the stupid argument that I've heard so many people say, is that it improves your reflexes and makes you faster. Like, okay, great, when is that ever going to help you? It's just not. If you get into a fight with someone, they've got a sword, it doesn't matter how many video games you played, you're gonna die. Like, it's not, unless you have real world experience in doing that thing, then video games aren't going to help you. So this idea that gaming benefits us, that it's healthy and normal, is one of the myths that just refuses to die. And people, when questioned about this, they have no justification for it. They can't critically think about what is right and what is wrong. And that is one of the things you have to overcome to get Gamefree. But the last thing you need to do, taking all this knowledge that I've shared throughout the video, is to put it into action. In order to build the life that you truly want, you need to figure out a few things. You need to figure out your values, your identity, beliefs, and where you want to go, and then put in a plan of action covering all of these things. Now, when it comes to this last step, which is arguably one of the most important things, I like to start with the foundations. So the first thing I like to figure out and help people figure out is core values and your beliefs. Now, core values are a set of, they could be words or phrases or feelings that dictate the decisions that you make every day in your life. They're values that you want to embody in your relationships, your work, your life, hobbies, all these things. And if you adhere to these, if you follow them, well, then every decision you make should be aligned with the person that you want to become, which is where a lot of people kind of struggle. The person they are right now is out of alignment with the person they want to become, and it causes a lot of physical and mental distress and results in so many problems that people just they never really figure out. So when you start with this value first approach, it allows you to easily make decisions and figure things out and have so much more clarity about where you want to go and who you want to become. And once you have these values, some of them might be freedom, family, money, strength, honor, discipline, I don't know, loads of different things. You can Google list of core values and you'll get a load of them. Write a few of them down, and then we get into your beliefs and your goals. And when you think about this, you've got to think about the person you want to become. When you imagine yourself in 3, 5, 10, 20 years' time, what is it you see? What is that perfect life for you? Can you imagine yourself in your dream house with your family and kids running around? Is it a career that's fulfilling, working on things that you love, making a lot of money? Is it traveling the world? I don't know, whatever it is. You need to feel those emotions that are associated with that. Really envision yourself living that life. And then you need to figure out what that person is doing with their life. What kind of hobbies are they doing? What kind of job do you have? Where are you living? And if you can make these choices, make these goals based on who you want to become, what that ideal life looks like for you, you gain so much more clarity about everything else. For example, let's say I want to earn X amount of money a month. Well, what you do then is break this down into exact steps as to how you get there. Alright, so I need to make this much money a month. What does that look like? If I'm running an online business, how many courses do I need to sell? How many books? If that's a career, what kind of career can I get that pays that much? And so then how do I go about doing it? And what is the most basic steps I can take every single day to achieve those goals? If I want to be family oriented, am I in a position right now to start a family? Probably not. I don't know if the finance is available. I'm not in the best emotional, physical health, whatever your reasons might be. Figure out the steps you need to take to go from where you are now to becoming a person that is capable of achieving those goals. What does being a family man look like to you? What do you need to do to achieve it? How much money, how much stability, how much everything else do you need to be to get there? Break that down into steps. Keep breaking it down more and more. And by the end of this process, you'll have a set of goals, values, and habits, like step-by-step habits that you can take every single day, that if you follow them, build an exact roadmap that you can take to achieve these things in the next few years. It really is as simple as that. Instead of focusing on like what hobbies you're going to do when you feel bored, what hobbies you're going to do when you feel anxious or upset, or what you're going to do to avoid playing video games and whatever else, how you can avoid your gamer friends. Instead of thinking in that reductive approach, if you break video games down and you learn all these beliefs and break through the conditioning that I've gone through in this video and build this roadmap, it's suddenly so easy. You know exactly what you need to do every day. You have certain things to focus on. You have no reason to play video games. You have no reason to go back to them. And it is truly freeing. I can't think of a better word to describe it, and that's why I'm called Gamefree. Once you learn to overcome video games in this way, you are free. You have total control over your life. Video games are no longer dictating who you see, what you do with your time, how you feel. You get to make those choices yourself. And if you want something, you get to take it with your own hands. You get to build it. You get to accomplish everything it is in your life that you desire. And there is no greater feeling than that in the world. No greater feeling than total personal sovereignty. Seriously, it is so refreshing. It's just incredible once you get to experience this. And my hope for you is that one day you get to experience this too. Like so many other people that have been through the Gamefree system, whether it's coaching with me or my program. And so if this video has been helpful for you, if you resonated with it, if you want to learn more about Gamefree and what we do and how we help people, go to the description, book a free discovery call with me. I'm not gonna sell you anything. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. I just want to help you out. Thanks for watching. If you got something out of it, like, subscribe, comment, you know the deal. I wouldn't be a YouTuber if I didn't say these things every video, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.